Hey, hey, I made it. A little late, sorry. The whole world is falling apart. So, not everything is going to be perfect. But what's up? Hey, everybody. All right, let me make sure I'm going live everywhere. How are you guys doing? First, if it's the first time you've been seeing me this week, I'll explain it. I was here yesterday, though. We were talking about the Trump thing. So, I'll tell you guys what's going on once you're ready for it. Then I will go over what's in the news. I will talk about gold. I will talk about gold today because there's news about it. So I have been talking about it, but it is genuinely in the news today. I don't know if it's really going to happen, but some senators or some Congress people are suggesting that we get a new gold standard. So that's cool. So that's good. And there are things you can. There are memes about gold that are fun to use and stuff. So it's fun. It's all fun. Like the fun part is the economic collapse. Okay, hold on. I don't know why that is. For some reason, the part that seems like it's going to be fun is the economic collapse. And that's when gold maybe becomes money again, maybe Bitcoin. So, which they call digital gold. So we can talk about that today too. And then of course, there's trans news again today. So there is trans news again today. So I will give you that too about how it is. You know how it is. It's hard to really maintain a super optimistic attitude about things. Which is why you've seen that there's a lot of just kind of memes and jokes because it's hard to take things super seriously the way things are going. So I'll give you that news though about I'll give you the transgender news in as much as I can, as much as it doesn't just piss everybody off. It would be good not to be. I'll tell you guys everything. I'll check the chat. I'll be nice to people. It's going to be one of those great shows where you learn something. Maybe we're all entertained. Maybe you make a friend. That'd be cool. So get ready here. Hold on. Let me go to my video. Don't know if the gold standard thing is big news though. So whatever. Doesn't matter if people. The other big news is Trump did a speech last night. I missed it. So curious if you guys saw it, what you thought. I could take some polls, see what people are thinking. Maybe. We're getting closer. What is it, April? They just told me in California, my accountant just told me that taxes aren't due for me until October 15th. She said because of flooding in January. I don't even remember flooding in January. I don't even know what she's talking about. I don't know if that's a California thing or if that's nationwide. So anyway, look into it. I'm always late. I always end up pushing back my taxes. It's already April 5th, though, right? So I finally texted my account today. I was like, oh, I'm probably too late. So we'll probably have to, what do you call it? File a extension. She was like, oh no, you're lucky. There was flooding. So I guess we have a while longer, but it doesn't matter. You can always extend it. So I saw a tweet today that said in 2022, almost no one claimed taxes on cryptocurrency, which is interesting to me. because I did actually. And I don't even think it was good for me because I think I had gains maybe in 2022, 2021 was the last year I filed taxes for, correct? Yeah. Yeah, I actually did. I mean, you know why? Because I talk about crypto all the time. So I figure if I don't file taxes, then they're gonna say, "Hey, well, didn't you say?" Yeah. So I'm kind of in one of those positions, but apparently a lot of other people aren't quite as honest. So that's the news, at least. And then with gold or silver, I mean, tell me how many people are honest about those transactions where you can just trade them in for cash without any ID or anything, whether people claim their gains on their gold or silver. So anyway, that's taxes. We're close, right? We're in April. So, all right. So I'll give you guys that news. And why do I have so much trans news? It's just we live in an unfortunate time. We just live in a very unfortunate time. It is. I'll tell you about it. I'll tell you about it after the intro. Okay. Thanks for coming to the show. I super appreciate everybody here. Oops, I have to go to the thing. And I'll see you on the other side of the intro. Okay. Okay, cue musical intro. Boy, that's brilliant. I do think some things in the world are real. Like you guys. You guys are real. Most of you. Most of my listeners, I think, are not just in my head. I think I have the metrics to prove it. You've taken a leap of faith today. What is that sound? And I apologize if you take offense. I'm a little offended myself. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the future. What it is, joining you live from sunny California. It's a beautiful day today. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. And I bring you the news, the real news. Yeah, the real news. That's right. So anyway, welcome back to the show. Yeah, I'm always having an existential crisis. That's just normal for this show. So anyway, yeah, I was having one recently. Because I just started to think that I was like, oh wow, there's really like no point. That's what I was thinking. I was like, obviously things are messed up. People don't listen to reason or logic or anything. That's what I was thinking. So it's not good kind of thinking, right? But it might be true. Normally, you would say that kind of thinking could be a sign that there's something wrong with you. If you're thinking, oh, the world, everybody else is crazy. Like, why am I the only one who knows? Like that kind of thinking. Normally, that's a sign that you're kind of crazy. But now I'd say, like, if you feel that way, you might be the same. You might be the sane one, actually. Like, if you think the whole world is insane, that might be correct. Yeah, I mean, what can I say? So I've been hard on people who listen to the show, I think, or maybe people perceive that. You know what? I'm disappointed. I have to tell you that. Like the news, I have to be honest. The news is the whole news since the arrest was going to happen with Donald Trump. And then, which I don't agree, which I think is stupid, the arrest. But then the response to it, which is that it looks like Donald Trump is going to be the nominee again in 2024. I just have to be honest. I'm like, oh my God, like, really? Is it like, are we really Is this really what we're all doing again? You know what I mean? So yeah, it does make me lose hope. Well, can we ever vote for somebody who doesn't, ever? Like, am I ever going to get a chance in my lifetime? So it's going to be Biden and Trump, you know, Biden and Trump 2024. I'm like, oh, awesome. So much to look forward to. Like, either way, you know. So that's the issue I've been having. I was like, oh man. Yeah. I was just thinking maybe there'd be something to like look forward to or something, but not really. So that's why I just started I'm kind of either black pilled or clown. I think clown pilled is accurate. I think clown pilled because I still think things are funny. I just don't I just can't take anything seriously. It's just very hard for me to take anything seriously. So, and if I took that out on you, I apologize. I will try to be productive, humorous, and deliver good things to the world. So I appreciate your support. You can support the show with super chats, with buy me a coffees, whatever you want to do. Yeah, it's just life, you know. It's like oh my god. So sometimes it gets to you that way. So anyway, that's what's going on. I will still deliver the news. It's cool if you want to support the show. It's cool if you want to buy t-shirts. You can go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil to leave a tip with a note for the show. Oh, and if you're listening to the podcast, all right, the way things are going, not every show I do ends up being posted as a podcast. I know that's kind of, maybe I should, but sometimes the show I didn't think of as a podcast. So I'll post this one. But just be aware that there's maybe extra content on YouTube or on Rockfin. Like the last show is actually only on Rockfin. It's not even on YouTube. So, and then there are some shows from the weekend that are on YouTube, which are not on the podcast. So, and like I said, I can understand if that's some shows I don't think of as a podcast. That's all. I could just post everything. I mean, who cares? But that's it. So anyway, if you're trying to catch extra material, it may be out there. Thank you. All right, let's see. I think I have some memes that are doing well today. Yeah, I started making memes. Oh, wow. I kind of have a popular meme about the trans thing. Let me see. This is about Dylan Mulvaney, so I can show you that. Support the show. If you want to buy t-shirts, you go to truthclothing.io. You can buy cryptocurrency t-shirts and wear them out in public like I do. Just to try to warn people. I tell people, I'm like, do you have some gold? Do you have some silver? Do you have some Bitcoin? But people don't listen. So that's all right. It's all right. I'll just be laughing later. I won't feel bad. You know what it says in the Bible? The Bible's a pretty good book. In the Bible, under what's the most famous Old Testament prophet? What's his name? Not Elijah. The other one, Isaiah. It says in Isaiah, I think there's like watchers, right? And basically their job is to warn people about what's going to happen, you know? And God said, I think God says it. He's like, if you warn people and something bad happens to them, then there's it's not your fault. Like, it's not you. You can feel cool. You can feel fine. But if you don't warn people and then something happens to them, then their blood is on your hands. I think that's what God said in Isaiah. So I just try to warn people, but only so much I can do. That's all. They say there's a lot of different expressions for it. You can lead a horse to water. So I tell you guys some stuff. It's up to you. You might think I'm crazy. That's fine too. I might be, and I am actually. So that's true too. I was going to show you one of my memes. So let me see. Hold on. Let me get on this show. This is Dylan Mulvaney. He's gotten a lot of sponsorships. Sorry, I say, the thing about Dylan Mulvaney is like, I don't even feel weird saying he because he didn't change his name, So it's still Dylan, which is still a male name, I think. And then, right, obviously, we know what he is. But I don't know how seriously, there's a conspiracy theory about Dylan. I'll tell you that. I'll share that with you. There's a conspiracy theory about Dylan that he is saying he's doing something that he's not really doing. So I'll show you that too. This is from Ole London. A man who has made a career out of mocking women, Dylan Mulvaney is now getting paid tens of thousands to be a brand ambassador, model, paid brand partner for these brands: Nike Women, Bud Light, Ole Henriksen, Plaza Hotel, MAC, Ulta Beauty, Tampax, Pax, Crest, Kate Spade, OK Cupid, Sveta Vodka, Urban Decay, Walmart, Mugler, Rent the Runway, Aritzia, Charlotte Tilbury. I don't know some of those brands. Many of these brands target women, and many of the products Dylan advertises, like the Nike sports bra and Tampax, are for women only. Well, a sports bra, actually. Men certainly don't need them, but they could wear them if they wanted. Tampax, yeah, they'd have trouble. Tampax, there is a place to put them, but that one really is a stretch. It says, this not only makes a mockery of women, it shows Dylan's young followers that if you mock women, you get rewarded with fame and fortune. Yeah, that was the point of my meme in response. So this is that's what I wrote back. It's like there are no incentives for being trans, and that's the uppercase lowercase meme, which is when you say something that they say that's crazy, right? If you're repeating something that they always say, then you use alternating capital and lowercase letters. I actually don't know why, but I know it's true. And actually, I searched and I found out that it's often associated with this SpongeBob meme. So anyway, I said there are no incentives for being trans, because that's the thing, really. The point is like, I don't want to get too worked up over it. First of all, I'm not a woman, so it shouldn't be it's not going to be, or it shouldn't be, as personally offensive to me as it is to actual women. But on behalf of women, it is offensive. And also the thing is like, what does it show people? It's the real problem with all these sponsorships and all this crap and all this fame you get, and social media likes and social capital and all that crap. Like, there's so much that comes with being trans. or I'm not saying that um, sometimes trans people don't get harassed, you know, maybe by people, who don't like trans people, right? It's like I believe that's possible. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. And I've heard some trans people saying, "Oh, this I got harassed by," and that's not. I don't agree with that. I don't think that's cool. But really, don't they say that there's? I don't know. Like, aren't they? It's about the incentives, like if you talk to what's the expression? Show me, how does it go? Show me the incentives. Hold on. Let me see the quote. Yeah, exactly. Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's guy. I might even include this. Under my tweet. Yeah, here's Charlie Munger. Show me the incentive and I will show you the outcome. And I think I might just post that underneath. I mean, he's talked a lot about incentives. So, and economists, when they raise their children, they think about incentives. You know what I mean? Like, and I have this. Hold on, let me copy this. Oops, let me copy this. I'm going to drop this under my tweet. I don't want to screw it up, but show me the incentive and I will show you the outcome. Charlie Munger, who is Warren Buffett's guy. But I have like a lot of thoughts about $1.50 hot dogs and soda at Costco. Like it never ceases to be of interest to me that you can get a quarter-pound hot dog and a soda, which you can get calories with, for $1.50 still at Costco. So anyway, I have a meme. I don't think it's kind of silly, but it's just about how if I was a parent, then I would try to incentivize for my kids, eating at Costco and make it really fun. Right. Like on Saturdays, it's like, hey, let's go to Costco and I don't know, come up with some balloons or something. It's great. The food's awesome. Oh, you guys love it there. You know what I mean? And then really it's about just because I'm cheap and want to get the cheap food, but you incentivize it. So if you want your kid to behave, right, you say, oh, if you do this, you'll get this. Well, what does it say to people that it's like, oh, you're a guy, like Dylan Mulvaney in particular was, I don't know, I don't know if he was mildly successful as a performer, but he wasn't, the truth is like, he wasn't even that much different. It was pretty much the same. Like people are mad at him because he's supposedly acting like a woman, but he kind of acted like that as a man. I mean, he was super like flamboyant and like hammy and stuff. And that was how he was. And he wasn't that popular, with basically the same personality with lipstick. Now, so it's like the same personality, same guy, puts on a dress, wears some lipstick, says he's taking hormones, And now he's like, what, a bazillionaire? I mean, what do you think if you're a kid, right? Kids want to be YouTube stars, right? They see my show and they're like, oh my God, I want to be like Nathan. Look how successful he is. So what do you think when they see Dylan? No, and obviously I'm just joking about that, but no, but kids really do, like, right? They want to be YouTubers because they see YouTube and they're like, oh, look. What happens when they see somebody who's like who transitions and then is like, just gets paid, like no joke paid. What do people, I mean, it's like, what do people think is going to happen? You get social currency from pretending you're a different gender, you know? It's like I was thinking of, like, if you're in the business world and they have diversity quotas and you're not diverse, then maybe you become diverse. Maybe you're like, oh yeah, I'm bisexual. Or guy, didn't I tell you guys? Oh yeah, we're swinger. I mean, or I just said I like diaper play. What if you just said that? Yeah, I'm into diaper play. So like that's pretty diverse, right? Like, can I get a seat on the board? Even though. So anyway, does seem like there is it does that it bothers me. It bothers me from that perspective. Is like if people really think, like, I'm sure, because I've heard people talk about it, some people really think they're the other gender from when they were very young, at least from what I've heard people say. People who are trans or say they're trans or whatever. They're like, oh yeah, I knew from when I was like a little kid. I'm like, okay. There are some people like that. But Dylan Mulvaney seems like he just kind of was like, oh, but I'm already a flamboyant guy, maybe I'll try out being a girl. 365 days of girlhood, my own beer can. So anyway, that's Dylan Mulvaney. And that is, yes, I'm getting more successful with my memeing. It's gonna be huge. Follow me on this was happening. And thanks for people supporting the show. I was gonna say on Twitter, the algorithm came out for Twitter, and I can't tell if some people are joking about it. There are some things I can't tell if they're true or not, where it's like, oh, if you use exclamation points and type in all caps, that your tweet gets ranked higher in the algorithm. But anyway, whatever it is, I'm on Twitter. I had a run where I felt like I was getting more popular, but then that stopped. And the people who follow me, and people have told me, like, people who follow me on Twitter don't really see my tweets. So if you want to see tweets and memes and hear just like random stuff, follow me on Telegram. Follow me on Telegram, because then if you follow me and you leave notifications on and like you really want to hear everything I say, which is weird, but if you do, then you will. And I noticed that, like, I follow a few people on Telegram where I actually have notifications from, like Andy No and actually Laura Loomer and stuff. And I know that, like, I do get notifications from them every time they tweet, and a lot of times it's interesting news. And I don't necessarily see what they do on Twitter. So anyway, so I'm doing that. And then I try to fix up my Telegram a little bit. So t.me/lifttheveil411. And then once you get there, there's a way there's like a chat attached to it, that once you're in that, you can go to the chat, I think. Fortune says, what is an actual alternative to Twitter? I am really trying to avoid that platform. Telegram works similarly. Twitter is a microblogging platform. It is much different than Telegram. So Twitter, you throw out your tweet and the algorithm decides how many people are going to see it, basically, or how many people are going to be exposed to it, unless they go to your profile. Or theoretically, if they have notifications turned on for every one of your tweets. If I tweet something that's popular in the algorithm, it could go viral, and a bunch of people that don't follow me could see it. On Telegram, I could post something. It could be amazing, and it would just be the people that follow me that see it. So it's different. It's different. It's like it's an individualized thing. So it's for people who are, really interested. I realize. I think the algorithm might be right. Maybe like people aren't going to be interested in what I'm talking about. So maybe it's saving people the hassle. But I think some of the stuff is interesting. I think we're in interesting times. So if people do want to follow, I'm putting more effort into Telegram, because at least then I know that everybody gets it. Because out of 10,000 Twitter followers, one of my normal tweets might get 300 impressions, 300 impressions. So that's like 300 people total see it. And I supposedly have 10,000 followers. So it's not very good odds that someone who follows me, who actually followed me, is ever going to see given one of my tweets. So, and then whatever the algorithm does, I have a feeling, being kind of a misfit and posting deep fakes and interacting with low quality accounts. I mean, there's all this stuff that people are talking about that the algorithm does. Like, you need to interact with high quality accounts. And I interact with like people that nobody follows that might have a bad record. I interact with misfits. So there are a million reasons why the Twitter algorithm might not like me, in addition to the fact that I might be talking about stuff that nobody cares about. So, but if you care, for people who do care, follow me on Telegram, t.me/lift3041. But yeah, there are other microblogging platforms that are clones of Twitter. It's just that none of them are successful. None of them, they can't. I just don't think any platform has offered anything more than what Twitter offers to a large enough extent. At first, it was really important that you could go somewhere that didn't have the censorship that Twitter had, but now the censorship isn't that bad. I mean, there's still some censorship for sure, but you can kind of, like I can stay within the rules pretty much most of the time. So it's really hard to compete, but there are, there's True Social and Gab, and I don't know if Parler still works. I don't think any of them have been successful. I'm not real bullish on alternative platforms, I have to be honest. I'm not even, and Rumble in particular, I have a thing where I just don't believe the hype based on my experience. I don't believe that it is a real alternative to YouTube right now. And there's a video like the quartering. Oh, sorry about that. Somebody said I had her picture on my screen for too long. Ben Dennett said that face could pass for the Joker stunt double. The Joker's a girl. Is the Joker a girl this time? For real? It's crazy. I wrote this tweet thread, which I deleted because nobody cared. But I wrote this tweet thread about how when I went to acting school, the most common part, like the most common role that would be cast when I graduated in the year 2000 was still a white male. So I had like an advantage. But I think most likely, based on what I see on Netflix and stuff, probably the demographics have changed. So, like the classes at the school were based on what roles would be available for actors after they graduate. So, it was like the class was 2-to-1 male, female because of that. And also, it's like classical theater, like Shakespeare and crap. It's mostly men. But now it's like totally, now it's all these girls. I don't know. I mean, on one hand, I'm not going to dismiss their sexism, but on the other hand, I think people like, I don't know, men are bigger box office draws typically, and that's not really. I mean, what are you going to say about that? It's like people prefer male movie stars. It's like it's nothing against women, but these films that have had these like female superheroes and stuff, it's kind of like nobody wants to. It's just not what people are interested in. So anyway, some of Hollywood is ridiculous. It's like they're trying to. That's why it's funny when you see like the gay romance comedy just flopped, right? Nobody cared. But it's because people aren't people are mostly straight. So actually, economically, you might want to make things that cater to the majority, for the most part. And it's cool to have niche stuff that caters to a niche audience. But don't expect your niche stuff to be mainstream because people aren't into it. Like I'm very accepting of homosexual stuff. Like I'm okay with homosexuals way more than my audience. But I still think when I see two guys kissing, I still think it's gross. It's still like not my thing, even though I'm very supportive of homosexuals and stuff. It's not my thing. So anyway, that's but they want to. So there is some of that forcing it down our throats. That's for sure. So anyway, that's Hollywood we were talking about. I covered the. Oh man, that's what I meant to use. I was going to use the t-shirt. Should we talk about gold? I can talk about gold. You guys have any? Does anybody have gold? Gold is for rich people, right? It is kind of. But some of the best investments are the things rich people buy because they're the ones with all the money. But silver is going to be just as good, I think. I mean, silver's been doing great. So, it's just a pretty simple reason for it. The original simple reason for it was that people could use any form of storage for them to store value that's safe, because banks maybe aren't anymore. So some people in that scenario, so there was the bank failure scenario. And that's why I started talking about like gold and Bitcoin. It's like, people realize, especially rich people or business owners or whatever, their money isn't as safe at the bank as they thought. So what are the alternatives? And two of the alternatives are precious metals and cryptocurrencies to just store value. Like literally just, it's just for you to hold value. Bitcoin has been, is there's a narrative that that's what it does. So anyway, it made sense that some people were buying gold, silver, and Bitcoin because they're worried about banks. Well, fast forward, and now the BRICS nations and Brazil. Well, Brazil is one of them, right? What is it? Brazil, Russia, India. What's the C? Brazil, Russia, India. Somebody will tell me. And then Spain. Is Spain the S? I can't think of what the C is. I think Spain might be the S. I'm not sure. Oh, yeah. Duh. Thanks, Mark Vickers. China, of course. Brazil, Russia, India, China. And what is it Spain or South Africa is the S, not Spain, South Africa. Yeah. Thanks, Mark Vickers. South Africa is the other one. So, but then also it's the Saudis and stuff too. So it's not just those countries, but those countries in particular started all at the same time kind of announced that they're not going to use dollars when they're trading together anymore. And then the Arabs or the Saudis and maybe and Brazil sells oil too, right? So they said that they will sell oil denominated in something other than dollars, like in yuan, for example. So that's a whole new situation. So there's one situation that created a reason to buy gold or Bitcoin or silver or other cryptocurrencies, which was that money isn't safe in the bank. The new reason to buy gold and cryptocurrencies because of this is that the dollar is going to lose value. So the previous reason that had to do with the banks didn't necessarily have to do with the dollar losing value. The attack on the dollar by all these countries does mean that the dollar could lose value against other currencies. And that's basically, it's just, I don't know if it's that complicated. We went off the gold standard. And this, I'm going to get to why they're recommending a new gold standard. Is because we had a gold standard till 1971. No, there was never, in most of the history of time, even with all the currencies that failed, all the reserve currencies that failed over time, even with all of those, there never was an experiment in a currency that was backed by nothing. So until 1971, all currencies on Earth forever were commodity based. So like they could have been seashells, for example. That's one kind of commodity, right? Because that was money at some island at some point, right? But it's still a commodity. Not much you can do with a seashell necessarily, except look at it, but it is something, right? It's real. But typically the currencies were backed by gold and silver. And then the currencies, sometimes the empires would start to fail when governments started debasing the currency by actually reducing the amount of metal in them or the amount of precious metal in them. So I know they did that in Rome and in the Roman Empire several times. Although sometimes they went back. They would debase it and then sometimes go back to a fully like the correct amount of silver. So what they would do is like it'd be silver coins, and they would reduce the silver content. It's like It's like we did here, kind of, except the way we did it, it was like we didn't just reduce the silver content; we stopped making the money out of silver. But we had, silver money and gold and gold. We had gold coins that people possessed as money until 1933, when gold was confiscated and then you weren't allowed to own gold. But people still used silver, and you can find old $1. I might have one here. Yeah, I still have one here. Like, this is what money used to say. When's this from? 1957. So I don't know how far back you have to go. And then I have two of these things, so I can show you. Hopefully the camera can pick them up. I have one from 1957 and this one from 1935, but I'll show you the one from 57. So this is a silver certificate. Let's see if it. There, you can read it. Yeah, there you can read it. See how it says, this certifies, and it says silver certificate on top. It says, this certifies that there is on deposit in the Treasury of the United States of America $1 in silver payable to the bearer on demand. So this was a silver certificate. And I believe there used to be gold certificates too. But this says that the Treasury, for every one of these, the Treasury has an ounce of silver. So that means that if they wanted to print more of them, they'd actually have to have the silver there in case people wanted to come in and say, oh, okay, well, because I guess back in the day, I don't know where you had to go. Payable to the bearer on demand. Okay, so you could go take this to, I think, a Federal Reserve Bank. I don't know exactly where you had to go, but walk out with an ounce of silver, which today is worth $25. Well, shit, if you want to buy one, if you actually want to buy an American Silver Eagle, you're talking like $40. If you want to buy an old American silver dollar, like a Morgan dollar, the most collected coin on earth, Morgan silver dollars, which I think are kind of ugly, you would have to pay, let's see. I'll look it up right now. I just had somebody talk to me. Somebody said they were trying to buy precious metals, and one place they were looking at sold out. And I told you when I called around, they were saying the stuff is kind of sold out. Yeah, silver is $25. It's up a lot from where it was. If I looked up other U.S. mint silver, okay, silver dollars, let's see. Yeah, if you just got an old silver dollar, let's see how much they are. That used to be worth $1. It's going to cost you $30, basically. $30. Oh no, it's going to it'll cost you $30 for a cold coin. Cull means that it's damaged. Wow. Okay. Oh, and they're completely out of stock of everything else. Oh, geez. I wonder what else they have. Wow, you can't even buy them. Okay. They're just out of stock of everything. I'll show you what I'm looking at. This is at jmbullion.com, where I don't have a paid sponsorship or anything. Ben Dennett says JFK tried to reinstate the silver certificate with Executive Order 1110 and paid dearly. You know what? The JFK thing, they put him on the silver dollar. They also put him on the $50 immediately after he died. and then change the silver dollar so it didn't have silver in it anymore. Half dollar, Kennedy half dollar. It's a nice coin, actually. Kennedy half dollars are nice. And you can get them in silver. They're silver as long as they're before 1964. Ridcock says platinum is the sleeping giant. Well, I like that idea. That's cool. Diversify my portfolio. Well, silver, gold, cryptos. Platinum, yeah, platinum. But platinum's for rich guys too. I mean, it is expensive for platinum. Anyway, here's what I was looking at. Look, to buy these, which are one is worse than Cull. Worse than Cull is still $28. And it doesn't even have an ounce of silver in it. And then Cull coins are $32. Oh, as low as, which means actually if you want to just buy a few, it's going to be more. Yeah, I heard some places are sold out. Let's see what Eagles are selling for. But anyway, the reason is that I guess I'll explain it. Yeah, $40 for a silver eagle minimum $40 for a silver eagle. So $15 over spot. That right there that you're looking at is the most desirable kind of silver you could possibly own, in the sense that it always sells for the biggest premium over spot and is always the hardest to get. But they have them in stock. They have plenty of them in stock. So it's still available. But you can get other kinds of silver too. They just sell for different prices for people like eagles. Anyway, when we went off so that's how it used to be. We went off the gold standard in 71. We used to have silver coins until 64, which you can buy as which are investment, which you can invest in. You can just buy old coins. It's like buying bullion. It's 90% silver. But then which stabilizes the value of the currency. So like if you look over the history of the country, while we still had a commodity-backed currency, the prices were relatively stable for a long time. Then we decided to come off of it, and it was just it was because we couldn't pay our debts. Basically, it was a default. We defaulted. There were too many dollars and not enough gold. So I think what happened was either France or England was about to say, hey, we're going to trade in these Federal Reserve notes, like where we have a bunch of them, and we're going to take gold, right? I think what happened was they started to realize, or other countries started to realize that there were more dollars. It was because of the Vietnam War. Because of the Vietnam War, we spent more money and created more dollars than we actually had gold to back. Then countries figured it out, and they were going to cash in for our gold, which we would have run out of gold. So we were just like, so they call it closing the gold window. We were like, sorry. Oh, we said you get gold. Just keep the dollars. The dollars are good. And then that was it. And then from then on, we've been on a fiat currency. That's when it became fiat. And every currency, not sure if it was every currency in the world, but at least all the major currencies were pegged to the dollar. So the dollar was pegged to gold, and then everything else was pegged to the dollar back in the day. I think that was after Bretton Woods in 1944. Is like after the World War, everybody got together, and it was decided that the dollar would be like the reserve currency. The dollar would be backed by gold, and then everything else would be pegged to the dollar. So basically everything was backed by gold. And then 1971, we were like, oh, we'll just try this totally brand new thing. And then that's when inflation went, that's when we got into this crazy situation we're in now, all the booms and busts and all that. And like, ever since then, like in 1971, one man could have a regular job and support a family and have a couple cars. And fast forward to 2023, 50 years off the gold standard, and nobody can afford anything, even if they work full time. So it is possible that the experiment of moving off the gold standard is a failure, and we need to go back to it. So that's why the ultimate form of money, and it is possible. I don't think we're not going to go back to a gold standard because our whole system is based around the ability to print money whenever we need to. So to go back to the gold standard would mean that we wouldn't be able to print money like we used to spend on whatever we want. And I don't know if the system can even consider functioning that way. It's functioned so long based on borrowed money and money created out of thin air. So theoretically, though, that's what we would do, right? So these guys are saying, here's the story about it. 3 congressmen. I wonder if Massey is one of them. So theoretically, though, you get it if your dollar or currency is backed by something tangible that's real, then you can't just create more without actually also having the commodities to back it up. So it stabilizes the value, right? You can't print more. You're restricted from it by reality. So that gives the currency value, stabilizes it, etc. Makes it reliable. So I don't think the United States is going to go back to a gold standard, but it's possible one of these other countries will, or it's possible the BRICS countries will, or because they have to have a currency too. So anyway, like back to the oil thing, we had the petrodollar. So the petrodollar. So after we went off gold, then in order to create a reason for there to be a constant demand for dollars, because everything's based on supply and demand. So if people don't demand dollars anymore, then and the supply stays the same or the supply goes up, so and demand goes down, then the value goes down. I mean, that's the way things work, right? Supposedly. Oh, okay. You have a supply of dollars. You have people that want them and need them, like literally until this thing happened. Other countries need dollars. Like they couldn't function without it because you need energy to run a country, to have like a society. And if the only way to buy energy is dollars, and the only way to buy other stuff is dollars, then you need dollars. And if more people need dollars, that keeps the value of the dollar higher, et cetera, just basic stuff. So that was basically how the dollar was propped up, was because we went to the Saudis and we're like, listen, we'll give you military equipment, we'll protect your country if you agree to only sell oil in dollars. So that created the petrodollar. But at the time we said, okay, we'll hook you up. We'll look the other way for all your human rights abuses. We'll give you big guns. We'll help you with your war in Yemen. Just do us a favor. Don't ever sell oil in another currency. And then that guarantees that every country on earth that needs oil also needs dollars. So, and then if countries need dollars, no matter what, because they're going to have to use them for buying stuff, then they also store value in dollars. So they buy our treasuries too. So they buy our debt. So like once they get paid in dollars, like China, Saudi Arabia, once we're giving them dollars or everybody's giving them dollars for stuff. So then they're like, okay, well, what do we do with these dollars? Well, we're going to need dollars later. So they'll buy U.S. treasuries and get a little yield, and so that created demand for treasuries and allows us to keep running our government and keep settling debt and going into more debt because people need dollars all the time. So anyway, that's how impactful the whole thing is that basically all these countries are saying, oh, well, actually, we don't need dollars anymore. And so that's that can create a cascade of issues. And one of them is the dollar going down in value. One of them is, and if the dollar goes down in value, then all things being equal, things that are priced in dollars will go up in value in dollar terms. So that's why gold or Bitcoin, they're scarce. They're priced in dollars. And if the dollar is worth less, all things being equal, then those things are worth more. So when the dollar goes down, gold goes up. And a lot of times gold goes up. When the dollar goes down a little, gold goes up more than a little. They're highly correlated. And if they have to, so let me see who's on this. Alex Mooney, Andy Biggs, and Paul Gosar, all Republicans. West Virginia and 2 Republicans from Arizona. Yeah, Arizona in particular has been making rules about gold and silver being money and making sure that there's no taxes on transactions. So I'll look into that. I'll read from this article. Alex Mooney, joined by Reps Andy Biggs and Paul Gosar, introduced H.R. 2435, the Gold Standard Restoration Act, to facilitate the repegging of the volatile, it's not that volatile, Federal Reserve note to a fixed weight of gold bullion. Upon passage of H.R. 2435, the U.S. Treasury and the Federal Reserve are given 24 months to publicly disclose all gold holdings and gold transactions, after which time the Federal Reserve note dollar would be formally repegged to a fixed weight of gold at its then market price. Well, I'll tell you about that, but would be more than the market price, most likely. They would basically set a new market price. They would create a new market price. I can tell you about that, though. Federal Reserve notes would become fully redeemable for and exchangeable with gold at the new price, with the U.S. Treasury and its gold reserves backstopping Federal Reserve banks as guarantor. Monetary experts have noted a return to a gold standard would substantially curtail the economic damage caused by inflation, runaway federal debt, and monetary system instability. Quote, a gold standard would protect against Washington's irresponsible spending habits and the creation of money out of thin air, unquote, said Mooney in a statement. Quote, prices would be shaped by economics rather than the instincts of bureaucrats. No longer would American families, businesses, and the economy as a whole be at the mercy of the Federal Reserve and reckless Washington spenders, unquote. The Gold Standard Restoration Act also makes several findings as to the harm the Federal Reserve System has inflicted on everyday Americans, particularly since Richard Nixon temporarily suspended, in quotes, gold backing of the money system in 1971. HR 2435 points out, quote, the Federal Reserve note has lost more than 40% of its purchasing power since 2000 and 97% of its purchasing power since the passage of the Federal Reserve Act in 1913. Historians have observed that the elimination of gold redeemability from the monetary system freed central bankers and federal government officials from accountability when they expand the money supply, fund government deficits through trillion-dollar bond purchases, or otherwise manipulate the economy. Quote, at times, including 2021 and 2022, Federal Reserve actions helped create inflation rates of 8% or higher, increasing the cost of living for many Americans to untenable levels, enriching the owners of financial assets while endangering the jobs, wages, and savings of blue-collar workers, unquote. That's what the bill says. Notably, Rep. Mooney's bill would also require full disclosure of all central bank and U.S. government gold holdings and gold-related financial transactions over the last 6 decades, a seemingly taboo subject surrounded by mystery and deception. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. We don't even know what they have. We don't even know how much gold they have. Remember when the Treasury Secretary went there? The weirdo? God, Trump had some weird people. His name started with an M, I think, and he had that trophy wife. They went to Fort Knox, remember, to watch the eclipse, the solar eclipse, and supposedly check out the gold supplies. But nobody knows for sure. Nobody knows how much gold they have. Well, I'll tell you, this is the way it's going to work. Well, I'll read the rest of this article. It's interesting. Hold on. Quote, to enable the market and market participants to arrive at the fixed Federal Reserve note dollar gold parity in an orderly fashion, the Secretary and the Federal Reserve shall each make publicly available all holdings of gold with a report of any purchases, sales, swaps, leases, and any other financial transactions involving gold since the temporary suspension in August 15, 1971 of gold redeemability obligations under the Bretton Woods Agreement of 1944. In the years leading up to Nixon's panicked temporary suspension of gold redeemability, abusive U.S. deficit spending and currency debasement had prompted many foreign central banks to turn in their Federal Reserve notes for gold. However, this disgorgement of America's gold holdings was largely conducted in secret. That's why H.R. 2435 also requires the Fed and the Treasury to disclose, quote, all records pertaining to redemptions and transfers of United States gold in the 10 years preceding the temporary suspension in August 15, 1971 of gold redeemability obligations. Yeah, I guess we just don't know. Anyway, I guess there's some quotes in here from people, but yeah, if basically if it happens, so they say they'll value gold at the then market value. So the way it's going to go, if any country decides to back their currency with gold, is they're not going to say gold is the same price that it really is. They're not going to do it at the market price because they only have so much gold. So they'll just say, oh, each ounce of gold is worth a lot more money. So, which, I don't know, could be $10,000. I mean, I don't know. So let's say the United States wanted to do it, right? If they wanted to back the currency with gold, they could go in and they'd be like, okay, well, here's how much gold we have. Right. And here's how many dollars there are. And they could just divide the total amount of dollars versus, by the total amount of gold. and they might come out with a price that, again, could be significantly higher than what the price is now, which is around $2,000. But that's what they would do, right? They would say, oh, well, okay, so if we're going to back the currency with gold, well, then we'll just say gold is a lot more expensive, right? So it doesn't cost as much, it doesn't cost the government as much gold, basically. Like, well, 1 ounce is $10,000, for example. And that could happen in other currencies and stuff too. So that's what's going on. And so there were these 3 congressmen who talked about it today. And Marjorie Taylor Greene also said we should go back to the gold standard. So that's what's up. That's what's up with gold. So I could give you that story. That's what's up with gold. So yeah, they could use Bitcoin too. It's just that Bitcoin is so new and so unstable that it's kind of unlikely. Gold is it was a $10 trillion market, and it's probably higher now because the price is higher and they keep digging up more gold. But it was like 10, it might be 12. Let's see. Gold, $13.43 trillion. I wonder how good the AI is at math. I would have to have it search the internet. Then I could tell you gold is the world's biggest store of value. And right now, $13.4 trillion are stored in gold. So Bitcoin, on the other hand, actually, I'll look it up. Bitcoin, on the other hand, has a market cap of 545 billion, which is many times less. Right? How many? What would that be? Like 20 times less than the market cap of gold, which makes it more volatile and not as likely to be used as a reserve currency. But for people who believe that Bitcoin is digital gold, which I believe, then it could be that people say, well, eventually the market cap of Bitcoin will be the same as gold, which would mean Bitcoin was at least 20 times higher than it is now. And I pretty much believe that thesis, but I believe in precious metals too. So. And then silver, what is the market cap of silver? Silver is actually a really small market. And I think it's like almost all sold. Like people say the supply is really, it's still bigger than Bitcoin though. 1.4 trillion. Market cap, 1.4 trillion in silver. So it's smaller than gold, and can go up a lot. And there really isn't that much silver. Apparently, it's all going to be gone one of these days, as far as digging it up from the ground. Okay, cool. That's cool. All right. I think that's what I have for news. I think I have a little extra time to take phone calls today because it's Wednesday, right? I wonder if the food came today. So I can take phone calls, see what people are up to. But like I said, follow me on Oh, if you bought me a coffee, that'd be really cool. I'll check them. Thanks, people, for tuning in. Thanks for the tips over on Rockfin. Steve Mnuchin, that's who it was. Thanks, Bogan Filter. Steve Mnuchin. Oh, and then there was Wilbur Ross, too, the Commerce Secretary. It was like a Rothschild banker, I think, right? Like literally a Rothschild banker. Thanks, Vogan Filter. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Vogan Filter, who says, love the economic splaining. Support the show. Okay, that's cool. Thanks. Thanks, Vogan Filter. Yeah, the algorithm knows, though. The algorithm knows that most people don't care, but I do it for you. Thanks, Vogan Filter. You're so cool, man. You support me every show. Thanks, man. All right, let me check to see if I got any coffees. And I could open the phone. I think I can open the phone. See what people have to say. Let's see. I'm going to pin Spaldo's tweet for buy me a coffee. I do that now. Thanks, Spaldo. You're cool. 650 gay taxi is the number if you want to call them. 650-429-8294. If you want a tip, go to buymeacoffee.com/lettheveil. They don't take anything. Oh, I could have shown you guys more. I can show you more AI stuff. I wish if I had more time, I would really mess with it. I think, I think nobody did. That's disappointing. Okay. I'll refresh. It's all right. I can't give people a hard time. Then people say, oh, it would be cool if anybody wants to buy me a coffee. I appreciate you, Vogan Filter. Thanks for that. And you can call in too if you want. I can show you some other stuff. Yeah. All right. Let me show you. Well, that's all right. People did throw down yesterday. That was nice. Voice generated. People are making. Oh, okay, I'll pick that up. Hey, you're on the air.
Hey Nathan, how's it going, brother?
Oh, it's going all right. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Yeah, man. So, did you mention, or did somebody else mention that in July they're making moves for the CBDC, maybe the starting
Fed
point
now.
or something?
Yeah, there's something called Fed now. I don't actually
Yeah,
think.
Fed now. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't actually think it's CBDC. It's just some kind of electronic payment system they're setting up. But yeah, they are doing Fed now.
Yeah, maybe that's just it's like a slow drip introduction, maybe. Who knows? I mean, that could be. I mean, like, there's just so much stuff going on, and then all this talk about everybody's like afraid of the CBDC going on when, like, whether they're invested in dollars or they're invested in Bitcoin, it's one
Yeah,
or the other.
here's the okay. So Fed now is not even it doesn't even use blockchain technology, so it's not even a cryptocurrency. So
Yeah, it's just some centralized thingamabob.
yeah, it's just a new payment platform. I mean, if you look at it, our payment platform. I saw a tweet about it. There's all this money wasted on international transactions in particular, that if people used cryptocurrency instead, any like existing cryptocurrencies, they could save billions and billions of dollars, in like just foreign transactions. So we need some kind of cryptocurrency. I mean, it's like we're literally wasting money with the terrible system we have now. So
Yeah, man. I put in a not to interrupt. I'm sorry. I put in a down payment or what do they call it? Not a down payment. It's just an instrument. It's an instrument that I'm going to get in about 10 months, and I put down $500, which equals no $600, which equals like 700 some pounds, I believe.
Well, I'm sorry. What did you do? I'm sorry. What was that?
I,
What did you do?
I put down a down payment on an instrument that won't be ready for 10 months.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And you did it in some currency other than dollars, you're saying, or?
No, I did it in regular dollars, but
Oh,
if within the next 10 months, if things like go haywire, I don't know if I'm going to see that instrument.
oh, yeah. Well, make sure you can get your deposit back at least.
Well, I
But
mean, like I could just count my losses. I mean, if I get the thing, I get it. I mean, if I don't get it, then I'll spend that money that I've saved on something better. I mean, shit,
right,
If
right.
if that money still is worth anything at this point, who knows, right?
Yeah, I mean, things are, yeah, I mean, it seems like things happen slowly. So it kind of seems like the dollars might lose value kind of slowly. Like it might not be all at once. I always expect it to be all at once, but it might not be, things take a while. So,
Yeah, it's
dollar
like
could
a
be
slow,
fine for
slow
years
drip.
still. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it might just be
Man,
a slow fade.
it's so fucking weird, man. Like the food is like in Maryland, it's in a lot of places. If it's not D grade food, if it's nice food that you buy from the grocery store, which usually isn't nice anyway, it costs an arm and a leg now. And booze, the prices are still the same. What does that tell you?
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting how some things have gone up and other things haven't. Yeah,
And
I hear what
pot's
you're saying.
going down in price. I
Is it?
mean,
Oh, that's good.
it, I mean, like it might be the fact that it's going to be legalized. I mean, they only had it for 5 years. They've had it only medical. So but that could be a coincidence. But people are just not buying pot, and like they're calling me trying to sell me pot. I mean, it's funny as shit, man. Like usually I'm calling them asking, do you still have that strain? This strain? And oh yeah, no, well, it's not, maybe not. But like now, like they're calling me saying like, yeah, we'll give you 30% off your next purchase. I'm like, wow,
That's
how's that
cool.
work?
From a legal place too, from a legal store, you mean?
Well, it's from a G Leaf, which is a medical dispensary in Maryland, Pennsylvania areas.
Oh, interesting. Oh, that's
And
interesting. They're giving you discounts and stuff. Yeah, that's cool.
they fucking give free deliveries. I mean, I'll tip them. I mean, for sure. But they'll drive all the way from Frederick to Baltimore, which is like an hour drive, man.
Wow, that's crazy. Pretty
I'm like,
sweet.
it's like talk about carbon footprint.
Yeah, right. Right. Right.
Like the biggest carbon footprint has to be from China or something like China, you know.
Yeah,
If there is such a thing,
as a
as
carbon
far as
footprint.
I'm concerned, it's all geoengineering.
Yeah.
As much as you see in the sky, dude, all you have to do is look, and it's there. And you see clouds that come out of these supposed contrails. They just sit there for hours and hours and hours when they're supposed to evaporate within minutes, right?
That's true.
I mean, like that's. I mean, it's and like how cloudy they look when they're farted out of the planes.
Yes.
It looks like a big burst of fart, cartoon fart, and like tic tac toe up in the sky.
Yes.
And it spreads out and makes clouds, and God knows what's coming down out and raining on everybody's head and people and animals and whatever,
Yeah. Yes.
trees, and
Yes.
it's kind of one of those things. There's nothing you can do about it. It's just like you can just say, well, it is what it is.
Yes. That's right.
Yeah,
Sometimes you can make memes about it depending on what it looks like. But yes.
yeah, man. Like fucking that guy. There's this guy. There's this pizza something or other. He did this. All these kind of memes that he put on his pizza parlor about geoengineering and
Oh yeah.
chemtrails.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, see?
I don't know if you know the guy's name on
No, I don't.
YouTube, but and he had this little documentary he made, and I thought that was pretty damn cool. But everybody probably thinks he's crazy. When all they got to do is look up in the sky, if they look up more than once a day,
Yes. Yeah, depending on the, I don't know. Sometimes we go a long time without seeing any, but then they seem to come in. It comes in waves.
Yeah, they
So
come in waves. Like sometimes they come big time in waves.
yeah.
They followed me all the way from fucking it was all the way from the sky from Baltimore City all the way to Parkville, which is on the outskirts about 20 minutes away. It was just all up in the sky. And it was a clear blue sky except for these trails, and then all of a sudden, next day big time rain, big time. But you
Interesting.
know, this is geoengineering. This ain't carbon footprint bullshit, man. That's all bullshit.
Well, we'll one day we'll find out the truth.
Like coronavirus. You remember that? SMID, coronavirus. It's all bull BS. All right, man. I'll let you go. I'm
Thanks,
feeling
Jim.
pretty good here.
Okay, good.
Take
Man.
it easy, man.
All right, good.
All right,
See ya.
see ya.
All right, see ya. All right, that's Jim. Those are some serious issues. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys about that guy that died in San Francisco. That's news too. This guy died in San Francisco. I kind of had, there's like a conspiracy theory about it, but that's pretty good. Oh man, that's funny. People are making funny images of Trump in jail with a prison tattoo. Oh man, that is super funny. I'll show you. Yeah, this guy got killed in San Francisco by a random homeless person. That's the official story. But some people have conspiracy theories about it. The guy was pretty. I mean, I don't actually understand the conspiracy theories because the guy was pro-vaccine and anti-racist. So he seemed like a team player to me, and he made Cash App. So anyway, there's Trump. That's funny. Oh man, that's just classic. There's so much potential from this stuff. It's just so funny. He looks good. Too funny. I'll share that with somebody. Some people in my chat are messing around with the Midjourney bot. Here he does. How does he have how does he get to wear a he gets to wear oh man, how does he have the bling? He's got like platinum chains and watch and stuff. Too much. That's too much. I put in a prompt that didn't do very well. And then there's a Terminator picture. All right. Nobody calls. That's fine. All right. Yeah. Anyway, that guy died. And then people were saying that he must have been targeted. I don't know. I was just thinking, I was like thinking of a person who says, don't go to San Francisco unless you want to get stabbed by a random homeless person. And then it's like random homeless person stabs somebody in San Francisco. Then people are like, oh, did he say something about Hillary Clinton or something? Like people are all surprised. I thought we were not supposed to be surprised if somebody gets stabbed by a random homeless person in San Francisco. I thought that's what we were supposed to expect, is that if you go to San Francisco, you get stabbed. Yeah, that's him in the prison yard. Trust divine mercy. All right. Well, I guess that's it. So if you guys know about the different places to follow, you know where I'm posting stuff. If you want to see the show, or if you want to support the show, you can always drop a coffee anytime at buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil, even after the show is over. And so, yeah, depending on how things go, I might be back tomorrow. Normally the show is at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. So I appreciate you guys. And thank you. Oh, and thanks, Retod. Thanks, Retod. Says, take this and put it into Buy Me a Coffee app for yourself. Cut out the middleman. Thank you, Retod. I appreciate you. You guys are cool. Look, Rockfin, like you guys on Rockfin, there's like 21 people tuned in on Rockfin. Thank you guys. I might do shows only on Rock. Just for that, I might do my next show exclusively on Rockfin, just because of that. Thank you guys. So make sure you follow me on Rockfin at rockfin.com/lifttheveil. Yeah, I might do shows over there. I mean, it's hard to say. So if I don't get anything, I just do it on my YouTube. What does it matter? So I appreciate you guys, but also thanks for tuning in. Good to see you guys. And I will see you at the next one. For now, that's what it is.